James stared vacantly at the side of the concrete wall. What was he doing here? He couldn't remember. All he knew was that he was in a dark place surrounded by walls. He was certain that he'd been in a hospital. How long had he been here? No answer came to mind. Wait. He had been in the treatment room before, fighting those monsters. But something still didn't feel right. When James opened the door to return to the ward, it was like the world had completely changed. The worn linoleum was peeling off from the floor, revealing the bar concrete underneath. The walls were faded, cracked, and dyed red with dried bloodstains. Broken bits and pieces of medical equipment were scattered everywhere, all of it covered in a layer of dust and filth. Brookhaven Hospital had fallen to ruin. James could not even begin to grasp the sudden and jarring change. He could only stand and stare in mute amazement. This isn't possible. Have I gone crazy? Is this some insane nightmare? Maria? All thoughts of Laura gone from his mind, James began a steady walk to the 3rd floor, almost like something was pulling his soul there. All he clung to as he traversed the darkened halls was one single idea. If he could find Maria, he could find out if this unsettling situation was something only he was seeing. He could ask her if it was all just an illusion. More than anything, he wanted to believe that this wasn't real. He swung open the door to room SO3 to find the bed empty. The only thing that remained was an empty bottle of pills that rested on the bedside table. Was it from the hospital's supply, or was it something she had been carrying with her? James's gaze was fixated on the bottle. He remembered this medicine. It was what Mary had been required to take in large amounts 3 times a day, back when she became ill. The fading pain in his chest began to ache again. Did Maria have the same disease? Maria? Where are you? In James's mind, Mary and Maria were beginning to overlap, as if Maria was trying to replace Mary. Maybe the last traces of his wife's existence were no match for the need and concerns of a human being who was still alive. After wondering and searching for so long that he lost track of time, James found himself in a ground-floor storeroom. Large, rusted pieces of equipment had been crammed in the small space like unwanted garbage. The whole place was narrow enough to feel like it was suffocating him. There didn't seem to be anyone else in here. James's shoulders sagged with disappointment. Suddenly he heard a voice calling out his names. It was like a beautiful sound from heaven, like the song of an angel, so captivating and breathtaking that it could even wake the dead. Heart lightened, James turned around. There was that lovely face he had been pursuing for so long. Mary? I'm Maria! She glared at him, the annoyance plainly visible on her face. Oh, sorry. James shrank away. I guess I was just confused. I don't really know what's going on right now. Anyway, I'm glad to see you're still alive. Are you feeling any better? Anyway? What do you mean, anyway? Do I really mean that little to you? I could have died back there. Where the hell were you when I needed you? All you ever think about is that dead wife of yours. Is that really all that matters to you? Do you even care what happens to me at all? As the angry questions poured out, Maria looked to be on the verge of tears. James found himself to be overwhelmed by her furious accusations. No, it's nothing like that. Then stay with me. Don't leave me alone again. I understand. I promise I won't leave your side. Then, it's okay. I forgive you. Little by little, Maria's temper seemed to melt away, returning to her usual flirty tone. Did you find Laura? Yeah, but she ran away. The pesky little girl's pranks had given him hell, and he was still bothered by the hospital's grotesque state. Honestly, he was getting sick of looking at it. Well, that's no good. Now we have to chase her down all over again, Maria said harshly, as if she were scolding James for letting Laura get away. You know, I'm not sure what it is, but all of a sudden, this hospital has given me a strange vibe. Poor Laura's probably scared stiff. Those words took a burden off James's mind. So I'm not crazy after all. If Maria can see these strange things too, then it's not just a hallucination. Yeah, we should get going. James nodded vigorously. I wonder where a little kid would want to hide around here. Maybe the basement? We haven't checked down there yet. I thought the same thing. But there's no way to get down there. The elevator won't move and the door to the staircase is locked. So I don't see how Laura is hiding in the basement. Really? I peeked into the basement stairs a little bit ago. I didn't use the key or anything. Maybe whatever had twisted the hospital into its current form had somehow unlocked the fire door as well. If that was the case, then there was only one way for them to go. James and Maria trudged through the decrepit halls towards the basement. Just as Maria had said, the fire door was unlocked. James was positive that this door had been shut tight before, but he kept his mouth shut in an effort to avoid another argument. On the other side of the emergency door was a damp corridor that was infused with a stale, musty scent. It had a secluded atmosphere that didn't fit at all to the hospital setting, and it didn't seem likely that this hall was used for transporting deceased patients. Their footsteps echoed dully through the dark, enclosed space, adding to the air of loneliness. As they rounded a corner, the monotonous sound was interrupted by a startled cry from Maria. "James?" A sound James had heard many times before was slowly making its way closer. The harsh and unpleasant sound of something heavy scraping against the floor. "Stay back!" Standing in front of Maria to protect her, James pulled out his gun, prepared for a fight. He knew the gun was a reliable weapon, but after the encounter with the monsters in the treatment room, only 3 precious bullets remained in the magazine. Thinking quickly, James fired the last 3 shots at the approaching creature, taking the opportunity to grab Maria by the hand and run as it recoiled in pain. "Hurry!" he said as he pulled the panicking Maria through the halls. James could only pray that there was an exit waiting for them at the end. If the worst should happen, at least he still had the steel pipe to defend himself. They dashed through the twisting corridor, around what seemed like hundreds of corners, until their legs ached and their breath came in ragged, terrified gasps. The end was in sight, a tall gray door at the end of the hallway, seeming to be impossibly far away. Was it the entrance to a room? Was it a dead end? James's disappointment dissolved where he saw it was actually an elevator, and the door was sitting wide open, beckoning them to safety. "Come on, please work." James ran inside and hit the first button floor. It really didn't matter which floor they went to. Anywhere was better than here. He found that in his frenzied rush, he was repeatedly slamming the button like he was trying to break it, as if pressing it more could make the doors close faster. He scanned over the panel and pressed the button for opening and closing the doors. Instantly, the 2 halves of the door began to slide together. Suddenly, it hit him. Maria was still outside the elevator. James hit the door button again in a desperate attempt to stop the doors from completely shutting her out. "Open! Damn it!" The elevator lacked safety equipment, so the cold metal doors continued moving closer together. Heartlessly ignoring both James's and Maria's pleas. "James!" Maria begged for help with a bitter cry, having managed to thrust her arm through the gap and into the elevator. Her screams were cut short by the sudden sound of a blade tearing through flesh. "Maria!" Her limp arm slipped through the crack, vanished, and the doors clicked shut. As the elevator began to ascend, James sank into the depths of despair.